Neural Frontier by Tim Trout. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved. Dedicated to the brave next generation who will be the first in the history of humanity to overcome these new challenges. Godspeed and good luck. The fate of the future depends on you. Chapter 1. The Invisible Man. The cafeteria didn't serve food, it served status. I stood at the automated kiosk, my stomach doing that familiar, empty, hollow soul thing. I tapped the screen for a basic nutrient bar. Nothing happened. I tapped again, harder. The sensor light stayed a cold, indifferent white. Behind me, Jax Miller. Value score 9.8, basically a god in a tailored polo, sighed so loudly it probably shifted the local weather patterns. "Step aside, ghost," Jax muttered. He didn't even look at me. People like Jax don't look at things with a value of 0. It's like their retinas are programmed to filter out the noise. He stepped up. The kiosk turned a warm, inviting gold, and a tray of perfectly steamed success slid out. Some kind of glazed salmon thing, with edible flowers. Of course. "It's broken," I said, my voice thin. "It's not broken," Jax said, already walking away. "It just doesn't see you. There's a difference." And the worst part, he was right. My name is Silas Thorne. I'm 15 years old. I live in Sector 7 of the Luster. And according to the Pulse, the global social AI that manages every breath, bite and heartbeat of human civilization, I have a value score of 0.0. Not negative, not flagged, just 0. You need to understand what that means in the Luster. Everything here runs on the Pulse. It decides what you eat, who talks to you, where you sit. It manages the sky, yes, the sky, which is a programmable LED dome that shifts from soft peach at dawn to deep violet at dusk, all calibrated to maintain optimal emotional output. The air smells like rain today. Yesterday, it was citrus. The Pulse picks based on aggregate mood data. Somewhere, a trillion calculations decided that the citizens of Sector 7 needed petrichor. It even decides who your friends are. Every kid at Ridgeline Preparatory gets a friendship match notification on their wristband every Monday. A little chime, a warm buzz, and then the name of the person the algorithm has determined is your optimal social companion for the week. People squeal when they get matched with a high scorer. It's like Christmas, but weekly, and engineered by a machine that knows you better than you know yourself. I've never been matched, not once, not in 3 years. The Pulse doesn't hate me. That would require it to acknowledge I exist. I'm just unindexed. My profile floats somewhere in the system like a dead pixel on a pristine screen. There, technically, but invisible to every function that matters. I walked through the cafeteria carrying nothing because the kiosk had given me nothing, and I sat at table 14. Table 14 is in the back corner next to the recycling chute. It's the only table in the cafeteria that doesn't have a social seating algorithm. It's where the furniture goes when it's one firmware update away from being decommissioned. It's my table. Has been for 2 years. I watched the room hum. Everyone moved in these perfect, frictionless orbits. Lena Park 8.7 laughed with her match of the week. A new kid named Oren who'd transferred from Sector 12 with a 9.1. Their conversation looked effortless, algorithmic. The Pulse had probably preloaded them with 3 compatible conversation topics and a shared interest in aquatic botany or competitive chess or whatever flavour of hobby was trending this cycle. That's the thing about the Luster. Nothing is hard. Discomfort is treated like a software bug. If you feel sad, the Pulse adjusts your ambient lighting. If you feel lonely, it sends a companion drone to your room, a little hovering orb that plays your favourite music and tells you that your feelings are valid and temporary. If you feel angry, the air shifts to lavender. The only feeling it can't fix is the feeling of not being in the system at all. "Thorne, Silas Thorne," I looked up. Mr. Haddix, our social integration coordinator, stood at the edge of my table holding a translucent data pad. He was smiling, but it was that specific smile adults use when they're about to say something that sounds kind but is actually a report. Just checking in, he said. The pulse flagged a gap in your interaction metrics. A gap, I repeated. You haven't logged a peer-to-peer conversation in 11 days. 11 days. Had it really been that long? I tried to remember the last time someone had actually spoken to me, not around me, or through me, or about me to a drone that was monitoring social health. I talk to people, I said. Mr. Haddix tilted his head the way the companion drones do. The pulse doesn't have a record of that, Silas. And if the pulse doesn't have a record, then it didn't happen. Yeah, I know. He tapped something on his data pad. I'm going to recommend a socialization boost. The pulse will increase your visibility in peer matching for the next 72 hours. Think of it as a little nudge. I'd had 4 socialization boosts in the last year. They don't work. You can't boost something that doesn't register. It's like turning up the volume on a speaker that isn't plugged in. Thanks, Mr. Haddix. He left. The lavender scent in the air intensified. Somewhere, the pulse had detected my frustration. The rest of the school day moved the way it always did, around me. In cognitive enrichment, the lesson was taught by a holographic instructor named Dr. Loom, who made eye contact with every student in the room except me, not on purpose. The eye contact algorithm is based on the pulse's seating chart, and I don't appear on it. In physical recalibration, I ran laps on the adaptive track, which adjusts its surface to each runner's optimal stride. Under my feet, it stayed flat and generic. Factory settings, it didn't know who I was. In creative expression, we were supposed to paint our inner algorithm, the visual representation of how we see our own data self. Everyone painted spirals and mandalas in golds and silvers. I stared at my canvas for 40 minutes and then painted a single dot, black, dead center. The arts bot gave me a 2 out of 10 and suggested I explore a wider emotional palette. By the time the final chime rang, I was done. Not angry done, not sad done, just the kind of done that sits in your ribs like wet cement. I took the long way home through the promenade, which is the main commercial strip of Sector 7. The promenade is beautiful, objectively, scientifically, algorithmically beautiful. Every storefront is a soft curve of white composite. The trees lining the walkway are gene-edited to bloom in synchronized waves of color. Today it was a rolling gradient from blush pink to electric teal. The fountains play music that adjusts to the pedestrian flow. When the crowd is dense, the melody is upbeat, propulsive. When it thins, it goes ambient, gentle. Right now, with just me walking through, it was almost silent. A single, sustained note, like a flat line. I passed the value board outside the sector hub. It's a massive public display that shows the top 100 scores in the district, updated in real time. Jax Miller was number 3, Lena Park was number 12. Even Marcus Vey, who'd gotten a disciplinary flag last month for questioning a lesson plan, was at 47. I wasn't on the board, I wasn't in the system deeply enough to be on the board, but I stopped anyway. Because I always stop because some stupid, unindexed part of me still checks, still hopes, like pressing a button on a kiosk that doesn't see me and expecting, this time, for the light to turn gold. I pressed my hand against the display, flat-palmed the way I used to when I was little, and thought it was a game. The glass was cool. My reflection stared back. Brown skin, dark eyes, the kind of face that's designed by genetics to be absolutely, profoundly average. Register me, I whispered. Not to anyone. Not to the pulse, just to the glass and the night air, and the flatline hum of a fountain that didn't know I was there. The display flickered. Not the whole board, just the space under my hand. A tiny, almost imperceptible tremor in the light, like a single pixel gasping for air. Then, for a fraction of a second, the number beneath my palm changed. Not to a score, to something else. A symbol I didn't recognize, a jagged line that looked less like data and more like a crack in the screen. Then it was gone. I pulled my hand back fast. The board was normal. The scores were scrolling. Jax, Lena, Marcus, the usual parade of people who existed. My heart was hammering. I looked down at my hand, and there, just below my knuckles, so faint I almost missed it, a flicker of black static danced across my skin, like a shadow made of broken code. Then it vanished. I stared at my hand for a long time, standing in the promenade under a manufactured sky, while a fountain played a single, endless note for an audience of one. Something was wrong with me, something the pulse couldn't see.